today we have
a very honorable guest.
Yes, we have our YB Rafizi Ramli.
It is your moral duty to come down to remove a corrupt regime.
Azam Baki has been weaponized against UMNO. If there is anything that UMNO is not happy, that UMNO may reconsider support for Anwar Ibrahim. The next thing you know, some people from UMNO will be arrested. The last 1 week, you heard about investigations into the agreement with MACC, Just because it so happened, a lot of those economic plans were designed by me. The same narrative that had attracted investors now are being politicized. I am very selective. I don't like stupid politicians. I'm sorry. I think PKR and myself has parted ways. And PKR in its current form no longer represent what people like me feel about how Malaysia, how the politics should be.
How would you describe your relationship with Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim?
So are you leaving PKR?
Well, I think I would like to keep everyone guessing.
Okay.
Because otherwise you won't call me into your podcast. I don't think anyone wants to use the word reformasi anymore. Part about being too idealistic, again, I think is an excuse.
This episode was brought to you by Bukku.
Let's get to know Malaysia better together with Bukku.
Hi.
Welcome to BBK Network channel. Today we are speaking in English because
we have a very honorable guest.
Yes.
Please use your like button to welcome him.
We have our previous Minister of Economic, YB Rafizi Ramli.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. I can try to speak in Mandarin, but nobody will understand.
Also, the latest video is. Alright, so what have you been up to lately?
Yeah, after resignation, have things got better?
A lot more time. I'm trying to grow back my hair.
Does it work?
I would like to convince myself that it's working, but apparently it will take about 1 year. So we'll see within 1 year.
I'm also working hard on it.
Maybe resignation is good.
Right?
Resignation helps.
Alright. So but why are you resigning?
No, direct.
So direct.
Because a lot of parties fights a lot for a minister post, and you get it, but you just give it up so simple, just like that. Why?
No, because you have to follow a certain standard and principle. We follow.
Is it in Malaysia?
That's a problem in Malaysia. So unlike we working in the corporate sector or private sector, when you get hired, then you do your work and then you either get promoted or you change job. In politics, it's slightly different because when you get appointed to become a minister, it is on the basis of your party position. It's because your party members appointed you and elect you to bring your voice to the government. So when you no longer have a party position, you're just an ordinary member, it's very dangerous if you continue to become minister, because it means that you cannot speak out your mind because you are beholden to the prime minister who still appoint you even though you don't have any party position. So we have to put that culture back in Malaysian politics.
But I think you still have the mandate from people, right?
But the mandate from the people is as an MP, not as a minister. Appointment, people cannot vote you to become a minister. People vote you to become an MP, but your appointment to the government as a minister is basically out of your party position.
What is the actual difference when you don't have the mandate from a party? You cannot speak out?
You cannot, because you are, even if you are a party leader, you still have to abide to some decorum and also collective responsibility of the cabinet. But within the cabinet you have about 30 ministers, and ministers go by seniority. the more senior you are, the more you should be able to push for what you want to do, what you want to change.
All right.
If you don't have a party position, you don't have any clout. For you to be able to do anything, to change anything, or to speak out, you must have the respect of your other cabinet members. But if you're just an appointee, nobody is going to listen to you. So you will be stuck between trying to do what you think the public wants, but not being able to carry it out in government because people feel that, who are you? You are nobody. So it is better to give that position to people with the mandate so that they can get a better chance of carrying out what they want to do.
It's very hard for us to imagine because I think we have some minister not even winning the election also got a
We have
post.
quite a few.
Yeah. So, but they do their works right. So.
Can you name one?
Oh no. Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the problem. There is a problem. And so, people always say that the problem with politicians is that they will kowtow to cling on to their position. So their master is no longer the voters. Their master is the prime minister. So I don't want to perpetuate that.
So what is the policy you want to push but you feel very hard?
Is there any obstacle that you meet that makes you feel that way?
No, I feel that there have always been some differences of opinion with Datuk Seri Anwar. It begins, for example, with the political culture first and foremost. If you want to change the country, we must change the political culture. And that means that putting the right people at the right place and leave them to do their job. Merit must be so important. But people say I'm not a good politician because politicians basically will try to make everyone happy and it's all about giving crumbs to everyone. So from the very beginning, you see that a lot of people either they have lost election or they don't necessarily carry any much expertise to the government, but they will be given positions just to make everyone happy. That is a continuation of previous practices. And now we are seeing the problem, especially with MACC Azam Baki. Because there was a sudden change on the part of Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. I think the majority of us feel that he should be removed. Datuk Seri Anwar from the very beginning in 2022 have made that call for him to be removed. But the moment you become Prime Minister, then so long as you follow what I want you to do, then you are my guy. So that's a big even before you go into the difference in policy details. It's like if you're a parent, even before going to your child's homework, you must make sure that he knows the right values, working hard, discipline and so on. So I think the first crunch, the first crack, so to speak, is basically the different style of looking at things. And obviously, the issue of Azam Baki, the issue of Datuk Seri Anwar has not been able to answer satisfactorily allegations about his former political secretary Farhaj. How do you explain someone becoming millionaires to the tunes of hundreds of millions, controlling many companies in the space of 1 year, and some of these companies end up getting contracts? There's also this big issue about being loyal to our core supporters, because the ones that had put this government, this party in government, is basically the urban, middle class, semi-urban, multiracial voters. Of course, we have to deal with the non-Malay, the so-called the rural Malays, the PAS, the Bersatu, sometimes the UMNO, But we must maintain that mandate that we are in this government because of these core voters. And I think a lot of difference of opinion stem from these 2 or 3 core issues.
I see. Do you think the differences start only after Dato Sri Anwar become the Prime Minister? Because since we are very young, so we already heard that Rafizi is the politician who have the strongest principle. That's why this is not the first time you walk away from politics. Last time. And then
second time, right?
It's probably third time.
Oh, is it?
and then afterwards you come back. So it's a very good news from the people, I think. So we thought that you already figured out like everything.
How it works with
how to work inside the cabinet, how to
Anwar.
work Anwar and stuff. But like after getting elected in not even 1 term, then you submit your resignation again. So like how does it happen so fast?
I think the difference in culture of leadership, the boundaries that I put compared to what extent that Sri Anwar is willing to compromise some issues. I think that was known. For example, 2019, when I walked out of politics, a lot of it revolved around the same issues. Basically, the people around him. I already pointed out that having someone like Farhash being so influential in his circle is going to be dangerous, especially if he were to become Prime Minister now. Whether or not this has been sorted out before, actually you can never tell how a person is until he or she becomes that person. So you and I might want to be a Hollywood actor. We can say that we will be like this and like that. We have some ideas about how things will be, but you will never know until you are there. And that's I think the case with Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim for a lot of us. After 2020, after Sheraton move, PKR went through a series of election losses. So the party members, Dato' Sri Anwar, Nurriza came and basically asked me to come back. And I think in that 6-7 months throughout the campaign before he became the Prime Minister, he played his card well. He allowed us to dictate a lot of things. So that's why you notice going into that 2022 election, PKR campaigns was basically run by the younger ones. The candidates were younger. The party leadership, the members elected a set of young leaders. So he didn't, although we were not his preferred choice for the party leadership. We were not. He had always backed a different group. But the party made that decisive voting decision that the party leadership that went into 2022 general election was basically a fresh new face. Most of us were young. I was the oldest already at my age. The rest, you can see Nik Nazmi, Lee Kang, they're all young. I think he restrained himself from disagreeing too much. But of course, once you become Prime Minister, then you don't need the party anymore, because you have the whole government at your disposal. You have the whole senior civil servants, you have the enforcement agencies, you have MACC, you have police. So within a few months, it was very obvious that the style has changed. The party was relegated.
Understood.
Is the government. He intend to govern with the civil service. Not so much taking input from the party.
But some people might say that because if you become the Prime Minister, you have to compromise with something, like because you don't have enough numbers to form your own government. So is it like it's just he's compromising?
That's why you have to me you draw a line between decisions that require political support
Okay.
with basically culture of leadership that you set, because those are not political decisions.
Like MSCC?
Like MACC, for example, like the way government is run. UMNO cannot say, I don't like that person, I don't like this. These are Prime Minister's appointments, who he appoint as the Chief Secretary to the government, who he appoints as Chief Treasury, who he appoints as Chief Commissioner. These are all Prime Minister's appointment. And the public's day-to-day interaction with the government is usually through government agencies, because at the cabinet level, those are all policy decisions. The implementation is done by government agencies. And government agencies, the head of these agencies are civil servants, and they only answer to the Prime Minister, you know, and they follow the way Prime Minister wants it to be. So that's why it goes back to what I say. If he has decided to be very strict, anyone that is incompetent, out. Anyone with allegations of corruption, out. He doesn't need to get UMNO basically to agree to that.
It's not a political.
It's not a political decision.
Compromising.
So that's why I feel that this whole argument that this is not a PH government, this is a unity government, and therefore reform must be slow, I think is an excuse. I feel in the beginning I have to put up with it, but as we went along, it was quite obvious a lot of it was within the hands of the Prime Minister. And I think if you see, even the AP is basically subtly communicating that. So that's why the pressure is on the Prime Minister. You know, the pressure is not really on UMNO or other parties, because a lot of the decision making is actually in the Prime Minister's hands.
UMNO also don't like Azam Baki, right?
UMNO doesn't like Azam Baki.
Azam Baki always investigating their leaders.
And I think UMNO would agree with us that Azam Baki has been weaponized against UMNO. So if there is anything that UMNO is not happy, or if there is news that UMNO may reconsider support for Anwar Ibrahim, the next thing you know, some people from UMNO will be arrested or investigated by MACC. So, you know, this issue about MACC and Azam Baki is a perfect example that it is actually in the hands of the Prime Minister.
Then why you want to do that?
I have a question that less professional. How would you describe your relationship with Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim? Do you see him as a boss or a friend? Like, can't you ask him during mamak time? Like, can you text him like, why you like him so much? Can you text him like that one?
I think that's also the fault line that has brought myself and himself to this point. Dato' Sri Anwar came from UMNO.
Yes.
He spent 16 years in UMNO. Yeah? And I think the old political culture cemented in his time in UMNO is that everyone is a subordinate, and please kiss my hand.
No.
You know, I'm the boss. You do what I tell you. You know. But PKR was very different when it first came to the scene. Basically, it's a social movement. A lot of us were not politicians. I was a technocrat. You know, I was an engineer and accountant. You know. But we felt that we needed to come forward and do our bit for the country. And that includes fighting for his release, because we felt that it was unjust what was done to him. So as we all rose in the party, we do not see each other as beholden to each other. There's no boss, there's no subordinate. Basically, I should be judged for the merit of the work that I do, and also for the idea, you know. And that's how I see him as a person. I don't kiss his hand. I don't see him as a boss, especially in the party when he is the president and I was the deputy president, I was elected by overwhelming support by the party members in 2022. So I have my own mandate, and my mandate is to speak up on certain issues or take certain positions the way that the party grassroots wanted it to be, but of course I think initially over the years I think he tolerated that relationship between me and him because I have always been direct. Sometimes he felt that I was too harsh on him because I say what I needed to say, and I think in Malay political culture that is quite difficult, but he tolerated me before he became prime minister because I suppose he needed everyone to be running around to get the support. That became it was obvious that he wanted a different kind of relationship after he became prime minister. So the gap gets bigger and bigger, and now he is surrounded by so many other people, especially the senior civil servants. Of course, there's always this complaint that Rafizi does not respect you as a prime minister because the way he talks to you, the way he communicates with you. So in that sense, the relationship changed drastically after he becomes a prime minister.
So are you leaving PKR?
I think he answered that not until the end of this term, right?
Well, I think I would like to keep everyone guessing.
Okay.
Because otherwise you won't call me into your podcast.
Very smart. Very smart.
If I tell everything in advance, then it's like there's no story to tell. But on a serious note, the political scene in Malaysia is changing and evolving very fast in the next few months. But I've said it very clear that I don't intend to stand on PKR's ticket in the next general election. So that's very clear. It's very clear to me that I think PKR and myself has parted ways. And PKR in its current form no longer represent what people like me feel about how Malaysia, how the politics should be.
35令吉可以做什么？还网络电话费不够用，还电费也不够用，还医疗保险费更不够用。那如果我告诉你，35令吉就可以处理完一家公司1个月的账目呢？没错，线上会计软件Bukku推出了对 SME 超级友好、超级友善的每个月只需要35令吉的配套哦。现在真的只需要35令吉起，你就可以享有真正的自动化做账系统啦。只需要每个月35令吉，你公司的 receipt 拍照起来呢，就可以 upload 上去，Bukku就会自动帮你抓取数额，自动记录，不需要自己再一个一个 key 啦。只需要每个月35令吉，公司的账目跟 bank statement 就可以自动对账，不用辛苦的核对端各种的旧账，还会让自己错误百出。只要每个月35令吉，就会自动帮你生成报税时所需要的各种账务报告，无论是 profit loss balance sheet 还是 cash flow statement， 应有尽有，这样就不怕漏报税务被罚款啦。
而且每当政府有什么新的条例，Bukku都会 update 在软件里给你知道。
而且呢，他们开出的 invoice 也是直接受到 LHDN 的承认的。我最喜欢的还是他们有这个 live chat support， 就是你有任何的技术问题、操作难题，你都可以直接问他，当然都是免费的啦。每个月只需要35令吉，就可以帮你把生意打理得清清楚楚。Bukku真不愧是全马性价比最高的会计软件，赶快点击下方的链接，输入我们的优惠码，就可以马上试用我们的90天服务哦，而且是不需要绑什么信用卡，什么都不用，就可以试用90天啦，赶快来试一试吧。Bukku每月35令吉自动做账，是从今天开始。
Do you think this change happens after the last election, after Dato' Seri Anwar become the prime minister as well? Because you were once the deputy president of the party, so it shouldn't be that way when under your leadership the party already drive into a different path from you, right?
The so-called the confirmation that it has become a different creature was last year's party election. There has always been difference of opinion, all the way during Azmin's time or even before that, we have difference of opinions in strategies, in policies, and within PKR, it's a broad spectrum. There are people like me who are considered less traditional, sometimes too radical in the way I look at things. You have on the end of the spectrum, for example, in the past we have Azmin Ali, who's as good as an UMNO politician in PKR, So of course there has always been difference of opinion, but difference of opinion is good for any party.
Yes.
But what determines or differentiate a party from a good one from a bad one is the culture.
Okay.
How the party tolerates difference of opinion. More so how a party draws very strong lines against bad political culture, money politics, abuse of power, cheating, character assassination, and because the moment you allow this culture to grow in a party, you attract the bad people into the party. And when you attract the bad people, because these are all the people who want something out of the party, positions, money, tender, projects, and the moment these people take position in the party, it sends a very bad signal to the rest. The good ones won't come. And from the last party election, the worst of the worst had happened. There were allegations of massive fraud and cheatings that the party refused to investigate. People who voted in the party election never know actually whether their vote turned out exactly like what they key in. Dr. Sri Anwar refused till the end to allow audit to go into the digital ballot box to check that if I vote for you, what comes out is you, because the suspicion is that irrespective of who I vote for, the result has been decided. So I feel that the political culture in PKR has stooped so low that I don't think anyone will be able to reverse its course, because this has attracted so many bad apples.
Well, I think
This
you will
is a very, very
receive
serious
another.
accusers.
Yeah, I think you will receive another letter. After this podcast.
I've got. I hope you guys don't get it. Please send letters to them, not to me.
We are not the member of PKR.
We are not,
But if you give a project, then
You are the bad people. She's saying, bad apple. So, would you compete against PKR next election?
I feel that what the public needs now is option. And I've run surveys and data collection every month. So since August or September last year, we noticed one phenomenon that didn't exist before. Which we call disenfranchised voters, disillusioned voters. And it cuts across voters group. Malay, Chinese, Indian, Gen Z, millennials, Gen X, boomers. So from month to month, we see more and more people that falls into this category. What we do is that we ask people, if there is a general election tomorrow, which party are you going to vote? But instead of just the three main coalition, PH, BN and PN, we also allow them to pick either one of the three categories, three new categories. First category is all the parties are the same. Second category is that I hate all these parties. Third category is I wish there is a new party that can represent my vision better.
I see.
So what we see from August, September last year all the way to the last one was January, was that more and more people pick either one of those three answers. So much so that for Chinese voting group and Indian voting group, that category is actually bigger than the first category. That means that more people say they are either they hate all the party or all the party are the same, or they wish there is a new party. The people who choose that option is actually bigger than people who say that I will vote either for PH, BN or PN. So because of that, I think we are at an uncharted territory where voters want politicians to do more and they want to have options. So it's basically a blank piece of paper. So whatever the political design of the past, which party stands in what seats, either you go against PKR or DAP or PAS or UMNO, I think we are starting from scratch. Whichever that we feel that we are able to put a candidate that can offer a good option to the voters in that constituency, I think we should consider.
Cool. So can I ask what is the result amongst the Malays?
Result?
The
Malay
percentage,
voters.
The Malays. voter.
Malays is the only voting group now that still has the majority voting for the main coalitions. It's 52-48.
Main coalition, you mean unity?
Either
PN?
PN or PH.
Okay.
And I think PN is about 21%. BN is about 16% and PH is about 15%. So it's quite tight. In total, it's about 52%. But the other 48% says, actually, I don't like any of this. So Malay is the only group where 52% still feel that they will vote for either one of the three coalitions.
48% is still very
48% is very high. Chinese and Indians has already swing the other way around.
You mean like 60% or 70 or 50?
I think in Chinese, I think almost at the reverse of that, which is 52-48. 52 say that they will. I mean, all the parties are the same. Only 48% will consider one of the three coalition. Indian is the most severe. Indian is, I think, 58-42. 58 say, please give me another party, or I don't like any of the existing party. So, but as you say, at 48% from Malay, it's actually quite high.
Yep.
So since we always hearing about Rafizi is leaving PKR, is there any other party or individual who come and approach you? So hey, can
Give us
we
something exclusive. I know you want us to keep guessing, but just a little hint.
You see, this is the reality of Malaysian politics lah. When I resigned last year, it's almost a year that I resigned. Well, there have been different groups and people coming, but their interest then was only for me and people who think like me in PKR, the MPs, for us to withdraw support from the government and support them to become the government. So there's a lot of offers, minister of that, minister of this, and so on. But because I was never interested, I've always said that I don't have any interest in chasing for position. Otherwise, I shouldn't have resigned. It's quite stupid, isn't it? Just to resign and then just to bring down the government and then go back to become minister. So after a few months, those offers and talks slow down. And I don't think people take much interest about my view about politics and different parties and so on, because I think they feel that at the moment my value is only to bring down the government, because I'm an MP and people know that I have some other MPs who think like me. But when it comes to new politics, offering options to voters, they're not interested.
This is quite sad to hear, though. right?
It is like that.
If it is
It is like
realistic.
that.
So also we always heard some like saying that Rafizi is too idealistic. So
Really hard to cooperate with the
yeah,
others.
and you can't survive in the real world of politics. What do you see this kind of? Do you think?
accusation.
Yeah, do you think they are just too dirty or?
Well,
They have some point. Or
yeah. No, I think that argument is an oxymoron.
No,
Okay, yeah. It just doesn't jive, you know. On the one hand, if people say that I'm too idealistic and therefore I will not survive in real world politics, man, I've come up in politics very fast compared to other people. Actually,
true.
You know, within a space of 1 decade, you know, I went from, you know, a chartered accountant, hardly anyone knows, to become a deputy president, you know. And I won by a very large margin in whatever I contested before in the party, or, you know, so on that. So to say that I will not survive politics, I'm still here, you know. After 1 year, when people say, after he resigned, he's nobody lah. I'm still here, you know. So that clearly is not true. You see, the part about being too idealistic, again, I think is an excuse. We cannot have a cake and eat it too. You cannot aspire for better country, for more meritocratic country. We cannot compete with better countries, but want to do exactly the same thing. It's like, you know, you are fat and you want to have six-pack, but you don't even want to walk. It just doesn't work like that, right? So if you want to have a better country, the culture has to change. And therefore we have to shift from politics of alliance and accommodations where compromise becomes the decisive enabler, whether one person goes up or not. We need to run away from that to politics where there are red lines, there are principles, people know what you stand for, what you see is what you get. And only then I think we can reset the political culture. Now, a lot of why people feel that it's difficult to work with me, it's not so much because I can't work with other people. I feel that sometimes it's because the standard that I operate is different.
I see.
So it's like I don't tolerate money politics at all. And I think the moment you take money and the moment you try to go up by offering contracts, you know, then I might as well pack up and go back to the corporate world, because that was the very reason why a lot of us were in politics in the first place. We really hate that because it's not fair on people, you know. And then there's also the standard about merits and hard work. The problem with a lot of people in politics is that it's a politics of kissing hands, you know. So you go and do as much work as possible. I ampu you lah, I count down to you. When you go up, please consider me and I will support you. But I don't want to do any work. That has to stop, you know. It's like if you want to go far and have an impact, then you have to work hard. Work hard in society, think harder, contribute more, speak up more, you know. So I've been doing that for the last 10-15 years. A lot of people will be more than happy if I allow them to kowtow to me. I say, come, kiss my hands and I'll make you, I'll put you all there. But that's goes against everything that I stand for. To me, if you want to go up in politics, please work hard. You may be my biggest supporter, you love me, but I can't promote you if you don't perform. You have to work hard. You need to have a certain intellectual capacity to become a minister, to become an MP. You cannot come to me and say, I've been your follower for the last 30 years. Please give me that position. You know, that is the old politics. That is perhaps the politics of Anwar Ibrahim that I disagree. Because of that, people say, you know, it's very difficult to work with him because he is very selective. He only pick his people. I pick people who are meritocratic, who can do work, who are willing to slog it out in politics without resorting to money. And when they don't resort to money politics, the only way for them to survive is by working hard. Not many people want to do that, you know.
Yes.
Yeah. Talking about works, since you are the ex-minister of economics, so do you think the plans have changed after you leaving? Do you have any comments on right now situation of our economics?
No, the plan has not changed at all. You know, that's also another oxymoron of what is happening now. On the one hand, I think some people in the government try to paint as if that I fail.
Like
or
the Padu system?
you know, either Padu or even people say, look, Rafizi is not around, or suddenly ringgit goes up.
Oh, okay.
You know, there are people who say that.
There's a relationship.
Rafizi is not around. Oh, our economy is doing well. You know, if you look at the government's economic policy, none of it has changed. It has followed exactly what we set out in 2023 and 2024, barring last week's US attack on Iran. You know, it creates some shocks in the market. But barring that, the market has responded well to the economic narrative and economic plan. By and large, a lot of what we set out to do per the economic plan is being transformed bits and pieces, and the market responds to it. Hence, you get the kind of economic performance now. My concern are twofold going forward. First is that if you notice as well, there has not been any new economic announcements. Whatever that we have now is basically what my team and other ministries' teams work on the economic plan in 2023 and 2024. We have not gotten any new plans, you know. So just like if you do business, like take a simplest business lah. You do F&B, you sell coffee and tart. You know, in the first 6 months when you roll out your new tart, people will be excited. But if you stick to the same tart for 2 years, after a while people will feel, I'm tired of this tart, I'll find another cafe. So the whole idea about getting Malaysia on the world's map to attract investments, to get the funds coming in, is the ability to continuously showcase ourselves. And to showcase ourselves is about plan and what we want to do next, and then show that we have been able to transform some of the plans. We have, I think the excitement may go down in the next 1 or 2 years if we just stick to what the plans that we have come out in 2023-24. The last one was RMK13 2025.
But it's a 5 years plan, right?
But same as TART, you know. You cannot tell that I have 5 years worth of TART.
You have
need to upgrade.
You have to really keep up, you know. And RMK13 is a huge plan that consists of so many different plans. So you need to take one plan and translate, one plan and translate. So that's one of my big concern. The other concern is this. A lot of the economic plans that attracted some attention in the past were started, some of it by me. You know, on the energy transition, on the semiconductor, you know, REE, you know, on new industry decarbonization, you know. So when you first roll it out to the market, they will be interested. Then they want to see whether the government is going to be able to pull it off, whether there's going to be focus, consistency. Now, since I've left, some people in the government have turned around and attacked the very same policy that had attracted investments. So I think today and the last 1 week you heard about investigations into the agreement with ARM to design semiconductor.
The MSCC.
MSCC, you know, and then there's another investigation into the project to build the largest solar farm,
solar
farm in Johor, you know.
All right.
So obviously the market feel that, you know, these are your policies. These are the government's policies. These are the policies that had attracted interest before. Are you going to sabotage your own policy because of politics? Now that you don't like him, you turn around and say these things were not properly done. Yet at the same time, the government also going around saying that we are making headways because of this arrangement. So it's almost saying that I'm pretty, but you tear your shirt down. You know, so investors don't like that. So there is also a risk to the government and to the country in the next few years if the same narrative that had attracted investors in the last few years now are being politicized and weaponized just because it so happened a lot of those economic plans were designed by me. Then I think the investors say, you know, these people actually are cuckoos. You know, they don't know what they want. You know, so if we are not able to come up with new plans continuously from time to time, or if you are not able to follow through on some of the existing plans, then the hype and the interest in Malaysian economy basically will slow down and people will choose to go somewhere else.
Cool.
But never mind, we have the next election coming soon, right? Maybe.
Will it be this year or next year?
I think it looks like more and more as we go week by week, it's looking like it's going to be this year. Some people say that it's as early as June.
Wow.
Some people say that it's as early as, and when I say some people, I mean people in Putrajaya lah. These are not you and me and Kopitiam, not our friends. These are some people in Putrajaya lah. So the words going around is that preparations are made for election either in June or August, but the latest is most probably November this year. So it's going to be sooner rather than later.
I hope you can find a place to contest.
We want the third option, right?
I better have a ship. But I think we should be able to you know, give better clarity before June.
Maybe we have interviewed like some politicians. We believe everyone who join politics, they have like something that they want. Like some maybe they want the power, some might want they want their legacy and stuff. I mean, what is your pursuit in your political journey? Cause you walk away too easily, so it makes us very confused. Like, actually, what is the things that always supported you in this journey?
I think the main difference between myself and a lot of other ministers or politicians, because I don't, you know, I don't pay my life through my job in politics. You know, so I'm not rich, but I was very stingy. So it's like I don't live beyond my means. And then when I was young in the corporate, you know, I save enough, you know, for later days, you know. So I do not have as much financial needs like other politicians. So because of that, whether I'm a minister or not, it doesn't really make that much difference to me financially. So that is a big difference. It's like, I suppose you guys do podcasts as well, you know. There's a big difference, and I do podcasts as well. There's a big difference between clocking 8 o'clock in the morning every day, day in, day out, than actually working on your own things, because that freedom, that financial freedom, is not necessarily rich, but you feel that you have the freedom. So I have that freedom, you know. So when I have that freedom, I do not see myself as some other politicians do. I don't think that I'm such a big person that I will change the country. I don't think so.
Was it?
I don't think so.
Have you ever dreamed of being Prime Minister of Malaysia?
Even
Good question. Be careful.
you see, I
We
don't.
will receive another letter again.
I don't. To be frank, I don't dream of becoming a prime minister. That has never been my obsession.
Why not?
A minister or prime minister, because it goes back to what I say. Because I don't think that any one person can change society. And in fact, I think if Malaysians think that we have to rely on this Messiah, that great leader, and so on, to make things better for us, we are in trouble. You know. So any one of us, even in my position, if I become minister, if I become a senior politician, the best that I could do is to add my expertise and my contribution to the body of knowledge and to the body of politics in Malaysia, so that the younger generation can be better. So there are 2 or 3 things that my pet hate about politics in Malaysia growing up, you know. I hate stupid politicians because I feel like it's an insult. You know, I mean, it's like,
Then you hate 99% of it.
because you know, it's like, you know, we go to university, we do our work, you know, and suddenly you end up watching. It's like, this is the kind of things they talk to you. It's an insult to our intelligence. So I hate that, you know, and that's something that I wish I can contribute to change going forward. The other thing that I hate is this kowtow culture and money politics. I hate this culture where when someone in politics, they really think they are big, you know. It's like, you know, you need to have outriders going around. You can no longer walk on your own. You must have 10 people surrounding you, carry your bag. I hate that because I feel like it's such a waste of efforts and time. If you can carry your own book, then that 10 people can actually do a lot more things. It's a lot more productive. Again, there's a culture, you know. So I don't set my objective in terms of either you become minister or you become prime minister, because I think you can become minister or prime minister, but most probably you don't change things unless you change the culture and the way we do things, you know. So and I've been quite consistent in the last 2 decades when it comes to politics. I am very selective. I don't like stupid politicians. I'm sorry. I prefer people who are smart, who are intellectual, who are willing to do hard work. That helps the first objective, which is we need to get rid of stupid politicians. Yeah. The second bit is no money politics, no kowtow, no corruption, and politicians are professional. Again, that's how the way I carry myself, the way I develop younger politicians around me. Now, if I'm able to do this for the next 10 years, and there are many more people who are like that, actually, to me, you know, I've done my contribution to Malaysian politics. And I will be more than happy, to be frank, if I'm able to do that.
You know, from people, it's very happy to hear from you like this, but it's very sad for us to hear from you like this as well, because like a boss who wants a staff who can keep working is a staff that who wants something. So if he only work for passion, he can walk away so simple. So as people, yeah, like for people the same also like if you only work for passion or you only go for the idealistic ideology that you want, you can walk off so easily. So
yeah, but then again, you and I run companies, right? You know, which one is better for you to build a better company? Is it when you offer perks and salary and you have to continuously compete on that, and the kind of stuff that you get you get good stuff, but the attrition is very high as well. Every now and then, you know, you can never compete with the money or perks offered by other companies. So that's one model, you know, which is if you make materialistic objective as a key differentiator. The other is a company where you accept people as they are, you give the environment for them to thrive as much as possible. When they walk out, they walk out. But people know that it's a good place to be, and you attract continuously, passionately good people coming. I'd rather to have the second one, you know. I'd rather to have more good young politicians in the future, so that any one of us can come and go. But as a country, we don't suffer because you are spoiled for choice. Every time you have 10, 15 good politicians to select from one, rather than having one good politicians who can perform, that eventually the power gets to his head and he thinks that the country owes him a living. So I you know,
we hope that way as well.
Yeah, why be you? I know you hate the stupid politician, but then like, who is the smart one? Who is the one you will
who can meet your
to,
standard?
Yeah, who can meet your standard? Like, can you comment on
like,
the others, like other party?
Like anyone?
Like, is it Sai Sadik your choice or Kylie?
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Okay.
How about DFP? You don't like? Who you like?
No, I say that I think Luke is competent. Luke is definitely a lot more competent than Nga Koming.
A lot
more
than Nga Koming. Okay.
Anthony Luke is competent, you know. There are some other competent.
Very hard to think.
Very hard to think.
Can count within one hand.
Let's say from among the backbenchers MP, you know, Wong Chen is competent.
Wong Chen.
Yeah, he knows his
PKR,
stuff.
yeah.
He's actually very hardworking. He puts himself out there. He does a lot more constituency work than I do, for example, you know, meeting people. So Wong Chen is the kind of people that I like to have around me, because but then again, people say that I'm biased lah, because we come from the same background, in the sense that we are corporate people. He was a corporate lawyer. We came into politics after we spent 15, 20 years at work. You know, we were not full-time politicians. But you know, to me, those are the kind of people that I wish to see more in politics, because they bring something to politics, you know. It's not like they leave school and suddenly they want to become politician. You know? They have never sold any nasi lemak, you know. See, that's how
I still want to invite Sai Sadik one day.
So there are also people like Chin Chong, PJ.
Okay.
Lee Chin Chong is to me the kind of politicians that is so undervalued, because you know, he's doing his PhD. He did electronics engineering. He spent his years doing political research and as a policy researcher. He's been an adun. He is now an MP. So he's covered a vast area of work that, in my experience, when you give any tasking to him, it usually works. He's very thorough in his job. Unfortunately, that's also the challenge in our society lah. Someone like Lee Chin Chong may appear to be so bland to public, because he doesn't shout, he doesn't make controversial remarks, he doesn't give crazy ceramah, but we need a good number of these kinds of politicians in the future, because politics is actually about thinking. Politics is about finding solution. It's not about showmanship. It's not about performative politics, you know. So I've only come up with 2 so far.
It's all your friends.
It's all my friends. That's why we get along quite well.
All right. Thank you so much. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, we are concerned about your family as well. Are they doing good right now? Or?
Yeah, they're good. They're good. But we have to change some of our routines. So we don't go out as much. We hardly go out. In fact, I think in the past, at least every week we go out together for lunch, for dinner. Because that's the only time I have. But nowadays not anymore. Once in 2-3 months, and then we have to be, especially my son and my wife. They have to really watch left, right, in everything they do. So, but apart from that, everything else, I think we try to make it as normal as possible. Yet you also know that the risk always exists. So you cannot downplay the risk.
It's very shocking news for us because like in 2026 Malaysia, things like this still happens. But maybe you handle it relatively calm, like you didn't point it at anybody or you didn't even like make a scene of it. But how do you keep this thing this way?
I kind of know, what the whole attack was all about. It was a warning to me. Whoever who planned and executed it wanted me to stop speaking out. And I have always maintained that it's about politics and it's about people who were not comfortable with my criticisms. And that's why I've said, most probably is an inside job. Is people, around the power structure that is in this country. So then, my wife and I had to make a decision as a family. Because what they want is for me to basically quit politics. Because they know that I don't have that much love for politics anyway. I've walked out a few times already. So, but the problem, if we do that, then basically you allow intimidation to decide. I am in a much better position than most others in this country. When I got intimidated, when there are threats, at least I have public support. I can go to the public and share, and that becomes a deterrence against intimidation and threats. But most Malaysians don't have that. They have nowhere to go. Even if they go to authorities, it will take some time before it gets investigated. So they live in fear. So when the attack happened to my son, I think a lot of Malaysians understand that it was a form of intimidation. And if my response is to succumb to the intimidation, I don't think it's the message that I want to send to the rest of Malaysians. I mean, it's very important for people to feel that we have to deal with this every day. The right thing to do is to stand up against it. And if a senior politician like me basically say, I give up, then what hope there is for other people? So I think my wife and I feel like, okay, we have to be a bit more careful. But giving what they want is the last thing that we should do. So
I think you are a real fighter.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You don't know.
A lot of people are saying the reformasi already reformati. We hope that you can continue it.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone wants to use the word reformasi anymore.
So we come up with a new one.
I think we have to come up with a
You
new
don't
one.
have anything on your mind?
Not yet. But I think now reformasi is a dirty word. I think you guys are younger, as a generation, right? Imagine my generation. We are now crossing 50, right? So we've been doing this since we were 21, 22. It's almost like 30 years. there's a bitter aftertaste to it. You know, a lot of us actually went to the streets. Some lost job. Some people went to lockups. You know, they never get anything out of politics. You know, it's basically something that they felt it was the right thing to do. And all they ever ask is for Anwar Ibrahim and the government actually fix the problems in the country. You know, so when all this happens, you know, I think reformasi becomes very bitter to them. So I don't think you can package reformasi anymore, whatever you call it.
Let them comment like what they want.
What name is it?
Resign Nasi.
Resign nasi.
Very bad, sorry. Alright, thank you so much.
Thanks for coming, YB.
Alright,
Thank you.
Guys, do you have any comments or any question you want to ask YB? You can just leave your comments below.
Yeah.
Then I will screenshot and send to him.
Don't leave stupid one. He don't like the stupid one.
Stupid comments can, stupid politician cannot.
Okay.
Live a life and share. And thank you so much, YB, once again. I hope you can win next election lah. Huh?
Yeah, we hope you
hope
can.
so.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Alright.
Thank you for coming. Yeah, that's all for today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Alright. Once again, thank you, Bukku.
Dear bosses, if you are looking for accounting solution, please do not hesitate to click on the link and use our promo code for trial.
We see you next round. Bye bye.